2019! 2019 was a roller coaster when it came to D&D and me. Normally I am a complete pessimist, but I have to admit some of my worst and best moments happened this year. As a D&D player, the first game that I had a bad time with this year, I ignored all the warning signs. The gentleman who was running it claimed that there was 7 people participating and only 2 showed up. Things happen as an adult. Things happen. But that's a huge red flag that I ignored. The other guy who was playing desperately wanted to play like old school D&D clearly, but the word cringe gets overused on the internet quite a bit, and this guy's campaign was horrific cringe. And it's the worst kind of D&D where all the NPCs know everything and there's no point for the players to be there. But the real thing that made this D&D game the worst was a simple lack of, consideration. For whatever reason, my brain wasn't working. I decided to go in for a second run. The guy claimed there was a bunch of people showing up again, which I knew was probably false. I don't know what I was thinking. I should have just bailed right then and there. But he wanted to have the game on a certain time, and I told him, okay, just let me know if the game's going to happen, because I have to rearrange work stuff for this, and this is going to be a little bit tight in my schedule. So if things don't work out, just tell me, it's fine. Just let me know. And I literally went to the guy's house, and nobody answered the door. I don't know where these people come from, that as adults, they will set something like this up, and just not even be at their house. No email, no nothing. He had all my contact information. And I told him, hey, I'm going to have to rearrange work stuff for this. Just let me know if anything's going, if there's any issues. And he didn't send me anything. And I went to his house and the door was locked. There was nobody there. It was just absolute ridiculousness. And of course, there was no apology at all for that. And this next thing is by far the worst game of D&D that I have ever participated in. This was supposedly a boss rush. And I had never heard of such a thing, but I assumed it would be a combat-heavy thing or whatnot. I had already made my character, but I didn't feel the need to have to redo my character. It's so confusing. I will try to bring up the big points, because I could literally talk for hours of everything wrong with this game. But I'll try to bring up the big points right now. Number 1. There was only combat rounds. This was supposedly D&D 5e. In the book, combat rounds it's probably literally only maybe less than a quarter of the book is stuff that's directly happening in combat. There is so much in D&D 5e that happens outside of combat. Yet this game had none of that. There wasn't even a point where the characters could walk to an area and do skill checks or perception checks or anything. It was literally just combat rounds. That made no sense. And of course, I had rolled a character whose entire utility was out of combat. Number 2, and again, so now that you know this was only combat, the guy up front said, oh, don't worry, I'm not going to kill any of your characters. What? What is the point of this? Literally the only thing that might have made this interesting. And again, there are so many board games that made just combat stuff, just do tactical combat stuff. They do it so much better than 5e. But the only thing that could have saved this game is the fact if I thought there was stakes and my character could survive doing something creative in the game. But no, literally the first thing he said in this combat heavy thing is oh, none of your characters are going to die. I have no idea who is teaching people to run games like this. Why? There is just so much stupid homebrew nonsense that was badly done in this game. Stuff that did not take into consideration everything. He had untyped monsters who had non-specific abilities, and there was no action economy considerations. But he didn't use any official rule set to make these things. It literally was nonsensical. This game had auto damage every round. Listen, auto damage exists in D&D 5e, like, in some weird situations, but generally speaking, you generally either have your AC to protect you, or you can roll a skill, or there's something involved, so your character just doesn't automatically take damage if they are upright and combat ready. Yet, that is what was happening in this game. Auto damage in D&D 5e. Every round. I don't understand where these people get these ideas, or why they do no research into the game. This is ridiculous. He said his job as the DM was to get all the players down super low in hit points without actually killing them, and that meant he was doing his job well. Like, I don't know how to describe it. In the words he used, that was the general idea, that he felt he was being a good DM if all the players were low hit points or down, and it was to the wire. This is, of course, after saying first thing he wasn't going to kill any of the players. This is, like, D&D 5e, it eventually, like, most of the battles are going to be, like, one-sided one way or the other. And then occasionally, it's going to be just a complete unfun slog. And apparently what he took away from 5e is that it should always be an unfun slog. So this took place at a bar thing. And when I started running games of D&D there, I believe the owner was talking to me and saying, oh, we'll have to arrange a thing so you get the DM thing. And I didn't really know what that was. And I said, oh, no, don't worry. I'm just going to, I'll pay the full price because I just want to run a game. I'm not interested in getting, like, DM things from the bar. So what I found out later is that this whole, like, DM, like, system that they had was, like, dungeon masters get, like, free food and drinks. And in the two games that I played there as a player, the people, like, literally did games that were, like, an hour and a half, maybe. And, like, they were just awful. They were awful. Like, there was no, like, they weren't D&D games at all, in any sense of the word. Like, it's just, you can't run a game and just, like, have it not be at all like D&D, and yet, for some reason, they were getting all these Dungeon Master things. And after the horrifically horrible, unfun game that I played in, that DM, he was complaining that he wasn't getting enough free drinks. It's just, like, I had run games there where I always spend too much time on preparation. But the actual games themselves were, like, 4 hours, like, everybody was ordering food, like, I literally hundreds of dollars, probably close to thousands of dollars, that place earned because of the people that came in to play my games. And yet this person who runs an hour and a half thing, which is not really D&D, it's just some homebrewed nonsense, unfun shit that no new players would be interested in. No new people are going to come into this place and want to come in every week because of this shit. Like, nobody wanted to play in this guy's game. And yet, it's just like, you gotta just take advantage of everything, man. Because I didn't know that. I automatically assumed, like, well, this is for, like, the DMs that are running stuff every single week, and they're providing a really fun game and stuff, and it's just like, no, anybody can be a DM, even if you're not actually running D&D, and then complain that you're not getting enough free drinks. Holy shit. That was the worst D&D game that I played in, bar none so far. And then I went to MaceCon, and that completely just renewed me as a D&D player. And I played in 3 of the funnest D&D games ever. I talked a little bit about this in the video before, but I played in the Scotty DM game, and by God, that was just so much fun. And, it reminded me you can play, like, just completely off-the-wall characters and not have it negatively affect other people. And it really meant a lot to me to be able to play in that game. And then for people to even say, like, oh, wow, that was so interesting that you did this, this, and this. And that really just made me so happy. the DMG game with Garrett, Gareth? I don't know, I can never remember. DMG.info game was amazing. The system there, the 7D system, was really great. And again, like, that was more of a thing where everybody was, like, playing with the system. And everyone was having fun, like, collaborating through the actual, like, gameplay. And it was very different from the Scotty DM game, but at the same time, it was still amazingly fun. I guess I just have to say I'm really happy that I went to the Mace thing, because it reminded me what tabletop games could be and what I think they should be. And I think this video should be a good reminder to people new in the hobby that there are a lot of really shitty people out there that run terrible games. You know, there are really good games out there, and as a player, I have not found one yet, locally, at least. But you know what? I'm going to go out there again. And if I can't find a local game, then I will find a game online to play in. Because frankly, I want to be a D&D player. I want to actually play like 5e or a similar system at this point. Like, I don't necessarily have to play 5e. After Mace, I am positive that there is a local game out there for me that I can be a player in, that I will have fun in, and I really think everybody should be reminded that there is going to be that local game, and you shouldn't settle for these awful games that make you feel bad at the end of the game. This little video should just be a reminder that there are bad games out there, but frankly, it should also remind you that there are good games out there too. And hopefully with enough perseverance, you will find one of those good games, and you will not settle for some hackneyed bullshit that's not going to be any fun. Up until November 2019, I would have had a very negative outlook on the future of D&D in 2020. However, after going to Mace and seeing so many people, both new to the hobby and people who have been playing the hobby for so long yet doing different things, I really think that 2020 is going to be an amazing year for D&D. Both because of the online saturation and because I think there's going to be so many people out there that understand that there is a game for them and they don't have to settle. Because I think what a lot of people have been doing with D&D and why I kept on going to bad games even though I knew they were bad games is because people were settling, because they felt they had to settle. And I think there's so many more people in the hobby now, you don't have to settle anymore. And I think it's a very positive thing. And I think in 2020, I'm going to make it a point not to settle for a shitty D&D game, and I'm going to find the one that makes me happy. And maybe that's not going to happen for a while. That's fine. I'll just end up running my own games as a DM, because again, there's a ton of people that want to play in my games, both online and in real life.
Have a great day, and as always, thank you for watching the video.